you Ironman 70.3 Des Moines swim people. Well, Des Moines people, we're going to talk about the swim today. So hopefully you guys, I'll be checking the chat, see if there's any questions for anybody that joins live. But we're going to talk about the swim. They released course maps, so if you haven't seen them, living under a rock, we're going to go over them. So this week we're going to be talking about the swim. As always, if you ever have any questions or anything, just shoot me a line, and I'll always tell you kind of what I think. But I want to go over, I'm very excited about this race. Used to have family that lived up in Des Moines. I've been there several times. I like the area. I'm from Kansas City, from the Midwest. It's a very nice area. It gets a little warm in the summer, but not super hot, not super uncomfortable. Everybody's really nice. I'm really looking forward to doing this event with you all out there. So hopefully you enjoy the content on this and it educates you on kind of what to be ready for. Specifically, I want to talk about the swim. But when you jump in there, Grace Lake, downtown Des Moines, it's going to be lake swim. So I would count on not being able to see the bottom of the lake. Wouldn't call it like nasty, gray, murky water necessarily, but usually in a lake situation, it's not clear water. You're not going to see the bottom of it. So make sure you're prepared for that. That you'll be able to be out in open water and not see the bottom, not feel the bottom, not any opportunity to stand up or anything. So just make sure you're prepared for that. And with the lake swim, usually you're not going to get huge waves or anything, even if it's a windy day or something like that. This is not a huge lake, not like one of the Great Lakes or anything like that. There might be a little bit of chop if it's windy that day, but I wouldn't necessarily be on the lookout for that per se. Just one loop. There are 3 turns, so if you'd like to check this out, first turn, kind of go for this little edge of the island when you're sighting. So that's a good opportunity to kind of sight for the edge of this to find the first buoy. Second buoy, third buoy, and straight back in. So it could be, a nice little triangle without one of the extra turns, but so you're going to be basically sighting to the edges of the lake. So it's kind of convenient, you're kind of shooting for right in here. There's going to be a lot of opportunities. If you look, this buoy count is accurate. Usually they try to put as many buoys as they can on the map that they're actually going to use. So you'll need to be proficient at sighting. So to keep track of these buoys, keep track of where you're going. I know I have a propensity to kind of go off to the left. So if I'm not sighting on a consistent basis, I'll find myself kind of veering off to the left no matter what. No matter if it's windy, no matter if it's still water, no matter if it's a river with current. So make sure you are ready to be sighting because there are 3 turns. And it is kind of an awkward position. You're not going to be able to see this turn buoy from this side. So make sure that you're proficient with your sighting. If you're doing my off-season program, there are plenty of opportunities. Tarzan drill is a great one where you're swimming with your head up. But maybe throw in just a few sighting drills when you're doing your swims. Maybe break up a 500-yard or meter all at one swim. Maybe every other 25 or so you're doing some sighting and stuff like that. So it's a good opportunity. Because, as I mentioned, you won't be able to see the bottom, and they do not put lines in a lake for you to swim in a straight line like they do with pools, so make sure that you're ready for that. You will face the sun at some point, so basically you're going all different directions. So at some point in time, unless it's a cloudy day, you will be facing the sun. So I would recommend tinted goggles. So just make sure that you have some, you can practice with them, you've got them to where you're comfortable with them, they're broken in a little bit. I would highly recommend tinted goggles of some sort when you're doing this race because at some point, you're heading in all different directions. Going this way, that way, that way. So make sure that you're prepared. At some point, you will be sighting into the sun. So that probably is a good opportunity here to make sure you're able to see when you're going in. But this is north, east, sun rises east, so when you're going out, you're going to be facing it. So maybe by the time most people are kind of swimming over this way, maybe the sun will just be rising, so you won't have to face it. But I would count on you're going to be looking at the sun to start that. Rolling start. So be ready for contact. The rolling start is kind of nice. Personally, I prefer it. You can kind of line up and make sure you line up to where your efficiency in the water is going to be. Don't line up to the front to try to get more time. Don't sit on the way back if you're a faster swimmer. You don't want to be swimming over people. You don't want to be swam under. Or don't want to swim over people. You don't want to swam over yourself. Place yourself, seed yourself accordingly. And rolling start, sometimes it's maybe one at a time, every couple seconds. Usually it's about 2 or 3 at a time, and they let you go in a little chute every 5 seconds. So at some point, you will run into somebody along the swim. It's not as congested, maybe if they've done age group swim start where they've got maybe 100, 150 people at a time. So you won't have to necessarily worry about that. But the whole time, unless you're the very first person and you're super fast, you're going to be having to weave in and out of swim traffic. So there'll be some people that are slower than you, some people are faster. So just be prepared. There's going to be opportunity for contact, even with the rolling start and the swim. So be ready for contact. Be ready. If you don't like contact, you want to avoid it at all costs, swim to the outside of the buoys, but make sure you don't swim too far because you got to kind of hug it right here when you're hitting this first turn. So just be ready. And I would imagine this turn, they're going to have a buoy that you have to swim. All the buoys are on the right, but you'll need to swim to the left because they don't want you cutting over here unless it's so tight it doesn't really matter. So be on the lookout for that. So I would recommend when you go to the race, when you go to Ironman Expo to pick everything up, see if they've got the buoys out there. You can kind of see where it's at. Maybe ask the race director about these turns during athlete briefings. They posted the average temp is 60 to 70 degrees. So it is Iowa. It is in June. They do get hot there at certain points. You know, it's just like anywhere else. They can have a couple hot days that warms us up. But, you know, 60 to 70, bring your wetsuit for sure. Bring a squeeze suit just in case. They make it wetsuit optional. You know, if you still swim with wetsuit optional, bring your wetsuit. It's going to be at least optional. I pretty much guarantee that. I'll put it on the video now. It's going to be wetsuit optional. Now, allowed wetsuit, everybody. I would say 85% positive would be wetsuit legal, and anyone can wear it and still age group awards and all that fun stuff. But that's generally the overview for the swim as I see it. But do notice there's a little bit of a jog to transition. So this is your transition area. So this looks like a good little, you know, if you stretch this out, that's like the first distance of that. And this is 1.2 miles total. This is going to be kind of interesting. Whatever this is, probably a paved trail of some sort. Hopefully they've got that lined up. Why we can't go straight across? Personally, I've never been to this particular area. Maybe the retreat area, something like that. But basically, that's a long little transition run. So make sure that you're prepared for that. Maybe there's an opportunity to throw some flip-flops or something at the start and then throw them on. Personally, what I did, escape from Alcatraz, 2019, had my wetsuit on. I put swim socks inside my wetsuit, zipped it up. So when I got out, took the top off, threw the swim shoes, threw them on my feet, and was able to run because that's a long transition to escape from Alcatraz. You're running on concrete, you're going to be rocks and other stuff. So it was an opportunity, especially when it's so cold, you know, my feet were frozen at that time anyway. But maybe an opportunity like that, you could put some sort of shoe or swim sock or aqua sock inside your wetsuit and actually unzip, have it there to throw on your feet to make this long transition run. So glad, personally, that I'm talking to you about this. And that's why you always want to look at the course map before you go out there and do a race. Just things like this to kind of plan ahead. So in my personal pack list for the triathlon, I'm going to put in aqua socks. And if you're in this group, you should have gotten the triathlon checklist. I believe those are one of those things on there anyway. So this is an opportunity that you can bring aqua socks, stuff them in your wetsuit, do your swim, and then come out and throw them on and then make that transition run, because that looks long and possibly uncomfortable as the in out to transition. So that doesn't looks like a way far away. So we'll see how that goes. But for the most part, instead, just talking about the swim this time. I don't want to jam too much in too little time. Next time we'll be talking about the bike and then the run and then kind of overall thoughts about the race in particular. So if you have any questions, email me back. If you have any comments, put them on there. And as always, I will get back to you.